YOLO composing gloves here. And Jordan. And this time I'm on the right side of the screen, so when I look at Jordan, I'm like looking at you now. It's great.
Yeah.
Jordan has made his first drum loop.
Yes. It was a homework assignment that composing gloves assigned to me. And let's see if I blow them away or
I'm ready. Is it a banger?
It's a banger. At least I think it's a banger. You told me that I could only use the panning and the volume, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I came up with.
Oh, cool. So it's mixed. That's cool.
Yeah. So I tried to mix it as best I can, and here it is.
That's kind of soft. Is it louder in your headphones?
No, it's soft. So
just a sec. All right, some level adjustments have happened. Play it again.
All right, here we go.
All right, so we got some panning going on.
Yeah.
I like the space. You got some like the low kick. It's good.
Yeah, so I had to. It was interesting because originally that kick was like super trebly and dry, but I kind of wanted to bring that bottom end up. So I did it a little bit with the panning, a little bit with the volume. I may have done some extra stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, but to bring out that bottom end.
Yeah, what we got going on here? Go through your mixer. You don't have any inserts.
No, but if you... Here, I'll show you.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's creative.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We haven't talked about that stuff yet.
I kind of just figured it out because I was kind of messing around with it. I'm like, why does this sound bad? It doesn't sound like something Eric would make, as far as the bass line went. And so then I kind of just figured out what these did by trial and error. And then I got it to where
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep going forward. So keep that, and then in the future, we'll sort of build on it.
Okay. All right.
So go ahead, open up a new project.
All right.
Now I guess this is technically 8 bars. It's the same loop.
Yeah, it's just an 8-bar loop.
Well, it's a 2-bar loop.
What? I thought I laid down 8 here.
Yeah, you did lay down 8, but it's the pattern 1 4 times. So it's a 2-bar loop.
Yeah, it's pattern 1 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Did you wanted something else?
I don't know. What I was thinking was like you make let's say you've got maybe you have a repeating pattern. I guess I was expecting some like synths and stuff too.
Oh,
so that it was like a loop, like a music loop.
Oh.
Not just like drums alone.
Oh, sorry. Then
I think this is really good because you figured out you did a lot with the drums, especially with using the volume envelope.
Okay.
Along with the pitch. That's good.
Yeah.
Because that's how you figure stuff out. You do stuff like this piece by piece.
Okay.
So yeah, open up a new one. Today we're going to be talking about perusing through sounds. Because I know when I was new, getting the sound I wanted was always really challenging. Part of it comes from knowing sound design, having nice, so there's a couple pieces to this. One of them is having just nice presets. That's what you rely on typically when you're new, is you just dig through presets until you get something cool. Then most people go through this stage where they feel like they need every synth on the planet. And that's not really true. You just need a couple synths you know really well. Like I know Harmer really well. It's usually my go-to. And this also depends on the kind of music you want to make. And then you get to the point where you're able to make some sounds and you know some sound design. And so you can really work with most anything. That usually comes from learning one synth. And then there's one other type. There's the samples. So like sample libraries. And that's the kind of thing where you do kind of need a lot. And it's very expensive to get into. If you want to write like orchestral music that sounds really good, you could try and roll with free libraries. A lot more free stuff now. But if you're looking for like the real nice stuff, that's just going to be expensive. Like every library on its own, most of them run on sale like $500, and so they're not cheap. They're the kinds of things you buy over time, and eventually you have a awesome setup. So you don't have any of those. You have just the basic synths.
Yep.
Because you're starting out.
Just the basics.
So we're gonna start with the basics, and that's where we're gonna go from there. So you've already seen some of the samples. So let's go ahead and lay down like a drum loop, and then we'll look for some sounds. In fact, instead of starting with drums, let's start with sounds.
All right, sounds.
So I want to make like a bell sound. Bell sounds are easy to make, and we're gonna use a synth I know you have and have full access to, and that is Citrus. So go to Synth Classic and select Citrus. Yep, and this is Citrus. It looks horrifying. There's like all these knobs and extra tabs, and in the tabs there's more tabs. I mean, it gets pretty freaking crazy. So we're gonna look at Citrus here, and so you've already seen the preset method. It's a pretty straightforward method. You just dig through presets. We're gonna go to the default patch.
Default patch.
Yeah, so just go ahead and load up the default. Right click to bring up the list. Yeah.
Right, and then default. Boom.
Nice. So we're at our default, and if you play it right now, ooh, that's very high. Let me come down a couple octaves.
Oh. Yeah, that's really loud.
You're clipping us too.
Yeah.
Okay, just a sec. One more adjustment. Okay, play again. Go again. Go again. Alright, we'll hang there for now. Okay, so we have a sine wave. So let's really quick, let me explain to you how a synth works for people who have no freaking idea what synths do. Except for the fact that you know that when you... What?
Can you just move the mic a little bit so I can see what you're doing?
Oh, yeah, for shizzle. Cool. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Alright. So let me explain to you how synths work for people who have no idea what a synth really does, except for that when you push keys, it makes noise. So this is a digital synthesizer, and it's going to make a waveform, and then we're going to just process that waveform. And that's what literally all this stuff is here for. This is a special branch of synth called FM. We're not going to touch FM, but it stands for frequency modulation.
Okay, frequency modulation.
That's like a whole other shindig we'll talk about later.
Where's AM?
What do you mean? AM? AM is actually amplitude modulation, and it is actually a method of synthesis. So, besides the fact, yeah, FM and AM are actually synthesis things too. Yeah, they have corresponding radios. There's actually one other called RM.
Oh, wow.
Stands for ring modulation.
Ring modulation.
Which is actually a version of AM. And it's better. So RM's in here as well as a separate grid. It's yellow, where the FM grid is like orange. But anyways, we're not interested in those right now because they're kind of, I was going to say expensive. They're kind of complicated. So we're going to stick to subtractive synth. So in subtractive synthesis, you generate a sound and then you subtract things from it. So you filter it, you take stuff away. That's how you make your sound.
Okay. And
then additive synthesis is when you generate a sound by putting a bunch of things together. And so usually it's like a combination. There's not like a clear cut, oh, this sound is 100% subtractive. It's almost always a mix. So we're going to start, right now we have, if we go to operator 1, you see how there's this little yellow like brick next to it?
Yes.
That means that operator 1 is on. And what it's telling you is that in your matrix here, you have this knob on.
Okay.
With this knob on, you see how it says out above it?
Yes.
And you see how it's in the row that has a 1 on it?
Yep.
So that means that operator 1 is going out.
Okay.
And that's going to your mixer, which right now has been assigned to just the master.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're going to hear.
Okay.
So, like, you're at a point now where you're like, oh, that should make sense.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So if we play sounds, we're going to hear what operator 1 is. So if I go to like operator 2 and change something and then play notes, we don't hear any change because we're only going to hear operator 1.
Right.
If we want to hear operator 2, we would go to operator 2 and turn operator 2 out. Now we can hear operator 2.
Oh, wow.
So we have 6 of these, and I've been calling them operators because in FM, that's what you call them. But they're not. In all other types of synth, you generally call them oscillators because they oscillate, they go up and down over and over. So right now we want to make a bell tone. So bell tone's really easy to make. It's right now we have a sine wave.
Yes, I see it.
Yep. And now a bell tone, they quickly die away. Because like if you hit a pole, they die away fast. So we call this the envelope. In this case, it's going to be an amplitude envelope. And you've actually already got one open. So if you come down here, we have all these extra things.
Yes.
That give us control. We're not going to worry about these right now. We're just going to worry about the one that says volume.
Okay.
So we have one for panning and one for volume. So we're going to go to then under volume, we have a subset of envelopes. I know it's just like envelopes and envelopes. But the one you're going to touch the most are either going to be LFO or the one that's envelope. Okay. So we're going to use envelope in this case. In Citrus, you also use mod X and Y a fair bit. I actually use quite a few of these. But anyways, so what the volume envelope does is we call this an envelope. I don't know the technical reason for why it's called an envelope. That's just what they're called.
Okay.
I know there's a reason though, because all this stuff comes from electrical engineering basically. But anyways, this is an envelope, and all the envelope tells you is how your note is going to change over time. Okay. So right now, if I turn my envelope on by hitting this little box or this squarish thing, so the envelopes get shaded in to let you know it's on. And when I play it, you see how it's got it like fades in fast. Before, if we turn it off, we had like that click at the beginning, and with it on, we have that. So it's more reminiscent of like an actual, it's like a wine glass kind of tone.
Or like one of those meditation.
It still sounds kind of fake, and the reason it sounds fake is because it's not in a space. It's what we call a dry sound. So in a real sounds, they bounce around the room, and they have reverb and all this delay, and they're being filtered by the room. And so because of that, that makes sound more real. So when we hear a sound without any of that stuff, we're like, we never hear sounds like that. So it sounds fake.
Okay. So
we're going to fix that. But this envelope has a couple stages, and we call this first stage here the attack. So this controls how fast our note turns on. So if we wanted a fast attack like a pluck, I could bring my first point here all the way over, and I get fast attack. If I move this way over, and then maybe I bring my curve down, it's going to tell it to turn on in sort of this ramping fashion. I get that. Yeah. So that's it. We're going to go for maybe this wine glass sort of texture. So sort of a ramp up, but pretty quickly. And, you adjust this to taste. This middle section is called the decay. And then you see the one with an S.
Yes.
So an S is a sustain. So most sounds will have an attack, and then they'll decay down to some point where they'll sustain. So if we hold a note, the loudness will be determined by the sustain point. So when we play our note, it's going to get loud, get soft, and then hold at this volume level. So if I bring this like way down, it holds at a way softer level.
Oh wow, that's yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you're at 0.
Yeah.
And then this last guy, this is called the release. So when you let go of the note, it's going to ring out for that last little bit. So if you play like fast notes, like let's say that I've got something that's got like a sustain of like nothing, basically.
Okay.
So it's going to ramp up, ramp down, and have a sustain of nothing. So I'm going to hit my keys really fast, but you'll hear them ring out, and that's because it's being told to ring out for this amount of time. Now I need a little bit of here to ring out from.
Kind of sounds like a vibraphone.
Yeah. So that's how these things work. A lot of times, if you'll have a sound ringing out, and you're like, "What is causing my sound to hang over this much?" And you'll figure out that it's actually one of these envelopes is on, and it's causing your sound to go. And so the way you stop it is you simply either delete the point, or you just bring the point forward.
Okay.
That way there's no more release.
So which one would you recommend? Deleting it or bringing it forward?
It's a case by case.
Okay.
Because you can imagine, this is a very simple. We got a sine wave, and an envelope.
Yeah.
And that's it. But imagine that we have 6 additional envelopes. And envelopes don't have to control only volume. They can control pitch. They can control all sorts of other levels. Volume is just one of the many things we can touch. Like they can control modulation. So this is just like a really simple introduction to the basic envelope. Now there's actually other kinds. This one, since it's got an attack stage, a decay stage, a sustain stage, and a release stage, we call them ADSR.
ADSR, okay.
So you hear it. There's a YouTube channel and a website called ADSR that's really, really popular. Make just tutorials and stuff. So you'll see this. There's another stage used called hold. But with this envelope's amazing because we can add more points and do all kinds of weird stuff. But we're not gonna worry about all that fancy jazz. You'll see an ADSR and like all kinds of things. And so we call this an envelope generator. Okay. And now you notice that every time I hit a note, a new envelope is generated. So each note has like its own envelope.
Yeah.
Like, so this is a behavior that's not consistent with all synths. So then some of them, they'll have different modes where maybe when you hit a new note, it'll come in at the same level and skip the attack phase. It'll just come right in. So it's different for each one. But in here we have re-trigger. So every time we hit a note, it'll re-trigger, it'll play a new envelope. So anyways, that's like a really long explanation. But now we have a sine wave that sounds pretty nice.
Well, mine doesn't. Here, let me fix it. Here. Whoa. Wait a second. This is the point. Move that here.
So yours off the grid. So you see how when you drag, it like has no reference?
Yeah.
Mine snaps to musical values. So this is like, well, not right now. If I turn on tempo, like boom, this is a quarter note. I got it. Or this is a 16th note because I'm zoomed in. Yeah, these are 16th notes. Anyways, if you like mess with your envelope like I just did and you get to like some crazy thing, what you could do is you can go into and open a state file. And like this, so like you can open it up and just go back to like your default ADSR. And I'm back to my default. But you're gonna want to turn on your snap setting. So down here you see this little magnet icon.
Yeah. See it.
That's snap. So turn that on. Now your values will snap to the grid.
So.
And then by having the tempo option on right here, this will snap to musical values, where these are 16th notes.
Okay, that makes sense. So now every little box is a 16th note.
Exactly. So now you can make rhythmic like pulses and things, but we're going for a simple envelope. So let's just make like our wine glass sort of sound. Okay. We're going for a bell sort of sound. So I'm gonna have a little bit of release there. Yeah, so that sounds fine.
Okay.
Maybe have your release. Your release. So play a note.
I moved.
Oh, you moved it down. Yeah. So you see how it just sort of like, and then just stopped.
Yeah.
So that could be really desirable for some things, but in this case we don't want it. So we want to make sure our release value is 0.
So okay.
That way it fades out at 0. So it doesn't just stop.
So now we have.
Maybe make your release longer a little bit, just because it's sort of sudden stopping. Yeah. So we have this. It sounds all right, but now we need to add that space to our sound, right?
There we go. Yeah.
So to add the space to our awesome sound, we see here that we have an effects tab. So go ahead and click on your effects tab, and notice that on your, the matrix here, we have our effects is turned yellow.
It is.
So that means we're messing with effects stuff. And what do you think this knob controls? Just based on where it's at.
Probably like something about loudness.
Yeah, loudness of what?
Of the attack.
Okay, now we're going down some weird paths. Good try though. So, because it's important when you look at it, this stuff's been put in a way that's supposed to make sense. Like you're supposed to be able to determine.
Wait. Okay, so if this. Wait, so then this is probably like the middle section.
This has no connection to the envelope.
Okay.
This is just like the amount of, so the out is the amount of volume that was just allowed out. It's like a volume knob.
Okay. So then this is also some kind of volume. But
Okay, yeah.
But it's of the in volume.
This is the volume knob for the effects.
For the effects.
So we're going to affect our signal, and then this is how much we allow out.
That's literally why they put FX, because it sounds like effects.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's ridiculous.
So, all right. So in here, we've got a couple basic effects. We're only interested in the reverb. We have a chorus right here. We're going to turn the chorus off. We're not interested in the chorus.
Okay, that's right here.
Yeah, so just to turn a chorus off.
You just unclick it.
No, you don't unclick it. Oh, wait. Can you unclick it? Oh, I thought that was like, oh, is there a bypass? Yeah, in order to turn the chorus off, simply take the order to 0.
Okay.
Because you don't need to worry about it right now. But anyways, it has it on by default. Let me show you what it sounds like with it on. See how we have that? Yeah, actually, this is kind of nice. Maybe we'll keep it. But if I turn it off, we have just our plain old sine wave again.
Okay.
And then I'm after the reverb. So this little R tab down here.
Yes. Turn
you
it
click on that, and then turn it on.
Boom.
Now, you have reverb. Now yours has significantly less release. You notice that? And it makes it sound, I think, less pleasing.
So how
Like listen to mine.
Yeah, so how do I fix that?
That's kind of nice, right?
How do I fix it?
So yours is determined by the release. Now, do you remember how to get back to the envelope that's controlling the volume for your operator 1?
Yeah. So don't I just hit this? Don't I hit out?
No, so you're gonna click on operator 1. So real quick before you do anything,
I'm on operator 1.
that's the point. You're not on operator 1. So this envelope is a different envelope. You can tell because it's not on. And also your effects tab is yellow. That means you're on your effects page. So this envelope would control specifically the volume for your effects.
That's not
So
good.
you're going to want to click on operator 1 and note that your matrix reflects that you're now focused on operator 1.
Okay, wait, hold up.
So now you're on 2, 1, yeah.
Okay, wait.
So it's helping you out.
What was I on before?
You were on effects. So click on the effects tab.
Okay, well, the colors stayed the same.
No, okay. So you see how this little yellow box? This means the operator 1 is on. But you see how my highlighted yellow is on effects?
Oh, yeah, okay.
That means that I'm on effects. So
Okay.
I'm going to click back over here. So we noticed that you're moving the decay. The decay isn't the issue. It's your release. Your release should be longer. So you're probably zoomed in a bit too far. You see how I can see this thick bar here?
Yeah,
And
there.
yeah, so maybe bring that out some and bring it down.
Like that?
All the way down, remember, because we don't want that click at the end.
So like that.
Yeah, so play it. Let's see if that sounds better.
It's still kind of abrupt.
Now go back to your effects. I missed a step. So you didn't turn your effects out on.
Ooh.
So you see how my effects, I'm saying, yeah, bring some effects in. Right now with it off, check it out. So
Oh,
That's
that's
what I
the
have.
problem. Okay, so now check this out.
yeah.
Whoa, yeah. Okay, well, I don't have a piano in front of me. I can't do that.
You could do
All right.
you know, it's like a piano.
Is
So
it?
like your cue,
Oh, really?
it's just like a piano. It's just on the keyboard. Well, you gotta think, what note are you on? Because it's got the 3 black keys and the 2 black keys. Similar.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I believe Q is C.
QC?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Okay, cool. So now to play an octave lower, you can hit the Z. You have 2 octaves on your keyboard. There's
So-
a way to shift, I believe, up and down too, but I can't remember it.
Okay.
So that's a MIDI keyboard's worthwhile. I think, for auditioning. But if you're going to be mobile, might not be totally worth it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a good tool to have. I have an Alesis V25. It's great. It's never given me any problems, and I've even been able to do a little bit of custom programming for it. Would recommend. It's like $89. It's one of the cheaper ones. And you get some buttons and some knobs and a mod wheel. The mod wheel is a tad small, but it feels good and smooth. And it's excellent. Would recommend. Great build. I even got a version of Ableton with it. So anyways, we have our bell sound now. Let's like use it to make some music. So
okay.
Let's come in here and I'm going to write out just a simple little melody, I guess. Okay. I suppose I'm going to go, maybe for an ARP kind of thing, I would do one of these. A, B, C, A. And then I'm going to duplicate it 4 times. I have this. I don't know. It sounds kind of stupid. And then maybe, okay, now that I'm making this, I've decided I want to change my sound. Because I'm like, this would sound cooler if it was like, like a fast thing. So I'm going to change my envelope to be something that goes more like this and maybe a shorter release.
Yeah.
And then like, I'm like, oh, maybe I like that more. And, you know, away we go. Yeah. So we're gonna do things, and then if stuff comes up, we'll bring it up. So let's make a little thing. Yeah, now you can duplicate it if you want by right-clicking on your channel and hit where is it? Clone.
Hit clone?
Hit clone and we'll make a duplicate of it. And
Okay.
so you can make like a little jam session.
Alright, cool.
So I'll bring stuff up as I see is necessary. But let's go ahead and just make something.
Alright, let's do it. So now how do I get back to the channel rack?
Hit F6.
Oh, here we go. So how do I play the kick? Or how do I play the beat with the music?
I'm working in the sequencer. Okay, so we have a good question. Let me really quick do like so I can catch it in editing.
Yeah.
So, Jordan's question is he's playing in the piano roll, he made his melody, but he sees me working in the sequencer instead. And so
how do I do that?
yeah, so because you see I'm flipping from drums to synth to line. I've got these extra things we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
So you'll find yourself, once you do this, it'll be great. So first, you're working in the piano roll, and the way I get to and from the piano roll is I do this. I just double click, and then I use my channel rack to switch the channels I want to look at.
So wait, what?
So close your piano roll entirely. See how your piano roll is like massive?
Yeah.
That's not a good way to work with it for what you want to do, because
Yeah.
you're trying to like create a song.
Yeah.
So I work with a smaller piano roll. That way I can see my other windows and I can freely click on them. And so like, for example, I'm working on my first citrus. Now I'm working on my second citrus.
Okay. So how do I do that?
So now double click on, so this is called a preview, a MIDI preview.
Okay.
So just go ahead and click on it and it will open and close the piano roll for you. Now your piano rolls don't close the piano roll yet. You need to resize it. So go ahead and click the little, you can hit the enter key on your keyboard. That'll resize it.
Insert?
Enter.
Oh, insert.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then you can resize it by clicking aside or dragging the corner.
Okay.
If you want, you can also hit this little button just like you would on any regular window.
Oh, okay.
So that'll do it too. So now you have that so that you can easily get to the other windows.
Mm-hmm.
Now you need to start putting down patterns in your sequencer.
Yeah, so
So go ahead and put down. So at this point, you're not interested in having it open.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I work with my piano roll a little bit lower. I have a bigger screen though, so this is something I can do. But I drag my piano roll down a little bit.
Okay, so.
That way, yeah. So like I'll be working in here, you know, making adjustments, la la la. And then I'm like, okay, I want to put this in the sequencer now. So now I just click on my sequencer.
So this should go into like track 1?
It doesn't matter. I could have it like way down here. Like I start working in the top corner and start writing out. So go ahead, put a
slosh of it.
Yeah, just click and there's your track. Now if you want to open up that specific pattern, all you do is you double click it and it will bring you to a piano roll.
Oh, dope.
Of that. And so you can quickly navigate. This is really useful for when you want to do things. Now, you notice that this pattern here has 2 things on it.
Uh-huh.
So if I click it, it brings me to one of them.
Okay.
So if I want to get to the other, I can just click on the other one and I'll get there. And I also have these ghost notes. If I double right click, it'll bring me to that channel.
Oh, okay.
Which is like really nice.
So I have a melody, so now I want to lay down like some sort of beat. So how do I work in the channel rack?
So you have your beat on the same pattern as your melody, and probably not a good idea for what you want to. I mean, I'm not sure what you're writing yet.
Yeah.
But I would delete all those drum notes.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to hear.
I was like, you probably don't want that.
No, that was just trying to test it. Yeah.
So now I would close that and I would make a new pattern.
Oh, a new pattern.
Just for your drums.
So now I go pattern 2, right?
Yeah, pattern 2.
Okay, and I could name it whatever.
Just name it drums. You have to either hit enter or you can give it a name.
Okay, well, I named it.
So let's go ahead real quick and play. So this is what I got so far. And these are like some drum ideas that I didn't work out. And I'm still working on the kick. That's where we're at. Go ahead, play your thing. Now you're in pattern mode, so you can hit. Yeah, you got it. It'll loop for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I have.
That's what you have so far.
Yeah, so far. And then I was gonna put like some drums to it.
And so, you know how your sine wave has got like distortion?
Yeah.
This happens with pure tones that are high. They'll clash, and that's just the nature of the sound.
Okay.
So you might try changing the range and auditioning that and see if you like it.
So how do I do that?
So open up your piano roll with your MIDI. Hit Control A to select everything.
Okay.
Use one hand to do that.
Sorry.
You can use 2 hands if it's across the keyboard or something, but Control A should be a one-hand shortcut. Yeah.
One-hand shortcut.
So okay, this is a 2-hand shortcut.
Okay.
Or I guess it could be one hand if you use the other control key.
Uh-huh.
But I've always used 2 for this because my other hand's already there. So if you hold Control and push down, you go up and down by octaves. I believe Sibelius has the same shortcut. So that's what it sounds like lower. Notice all the clashing goes away.
Yeah.
It's still a little muddy. Go ahead and pause it.
It's a little muddy.
So if you were... Now that might be a thing you're going for. But because you have so many notes that are closer, your sound might benefit from bringing the release to be shorter.
Okay.
Because you have a long release. And you might try changing the decay length of the verb.
All right.
But I think it would be a bigger impact to change the release.
So the release, that would be this, right?
Yeah, but what envelope does that control?
Oh, yeah, that's not the right envelope.
That controls the effects.
So we're over here, right?
Yeah, so you might bring it in a bit and audition it and see, oh, is this the length I want? So that sounds substantially better. But maybe it's a little too short. So go ahead. Pause it. And then maybe make it a little bit longer to fit better. So you still get a sense of that space. You know, it's like you listen to it a couple times, figure out what you want.
Oh, one of those notes isn't correct. Hold up. Let me fix that.
So, yeah, and you're in it now. Now you're going to be working. And same thing for drums. If I want to bring up So you only have one pattern, but just so you know, when I'm working, it switches the patterns for me when I click on them. So like there's the drums.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I work. See how my drums, I treat them as like separate measures.
Yeah.
And the reason I do this is so I can quickly view measures and I don't have to spend all my time scrolling this thing. It takes forever. So now I can just be like, oh, I'm on this measure 2, measure 1, measure blah, you know.
Yeah.
And then if I want to make it like different, I just make it unique. And now that measure is different and I can make adjustments without changing other measures.
And we can do that now.
Yeah, you can do that now. Yeah. Yeah, so let's keep going for a while.
All right.
And yeah, good talk.
Okay, I have a question.
What?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my. So what if I want to like make a new drum pattern and like a new melody line here?
Okay,
like,
so your
do I do
question
it-
is you want to make a new drum pattern.
Well, so I have the intro.
So what the way I typically go about it is you have two choices.
Okay.
One is you could clone what you have and then make them unique, and then just change out all the stuff you want to change.
Okay.
Or you could make an entirely new pattern and work from scratch.
Which one would you recommend?
It totally depends on what you're thinking about creatively at the moment. So, for example, let's say I want to make the new drum pattern, and I know I'm going to use some version of the drums I already have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I'll just take my drum pattern, I'll clone it, and I'll click, and I'll make it unique.
Okay.
And then I'll change that version. Or if you want to change the melody, you'll take the melody pattern, and if let's say that you want to keep some of the same stuff, so you don't want to work necessarily from scratch, then I'll make it unique.
Okay.
And that'll create the new pattern. That's typically how I do that.
All right. So for the melody, right? I would select it, right?
I just hold down shift and then I click and drag. It'll duplicate it. Yeah, or you could select it and hit Control B. I do that a lot too.
Okay.
Control B is nice
So
because
now
it
I
will
can-
automatically put it
So
over
now I
there.
can just click on that, right? And then change.
Yeah, you're still changing pattern 1. So if you change this pattern, all instances of pattern 1 will be changed.
No, so I don't want to do that.
So you have to make it unique.
Oh, yeah, okay. So then I go,
Yeah, important lesson.
okay, so here, shift, right?
But this time, try selecting it. Just Control click,
Okay.
and then just hit Control B with one hand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, so that's nice too.
Uh-oh.
Control Z will undo that. Now click on the little menu and make it unique. It's the little piano icon up there in the corner.
Right here?
No, it's on the clip itself. See where I'm still on the clip? It's right next to the
see.
name.
Yeah.
Click that thing and make unique.
Okay, make unique.
There you go. Now it's pattern 2. So and it's unique. So there's no other pattern 2s. It's unique.
Okay, yeah.
And so now you can change that. And won't change any of the other ones.
So then I'll click on this, and then cool.
I'll oftentimes I'll click and I'll hit make unique just to be safe. And FL will tell you if it's already the only one.
Okay, cool.
So
Awesome.
yep.
Thank
that's
you.
how you do that. Yeah, you bet.
How do you select, like, a segment? Like, let's say I want to select...
Control drag.
Alright, control... drag. And then I can just...
Shift click drag or Control B.
Okay. So how do I drag this to another key? How do I drag those to another key?
Just click and put them over there.
Uh-oh.
No, you added an extra button. You didn't click on the right spot.
So it's...
If you want to add nodes specifically, if you hold Control and click, they'll add them to your selection.
I just want to move this. So then I shift?
No, just click on them. Like check it out. If I select these notes, just
Oh.
click.
Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, so now if I want to, now I want to change the drum beat. So I can just, what if I just want to start from scratch for the drum beat? Or actually, no, wait, hold up. So to duplicate that, I just do this, Control, what is it, Control A, or no?
Just shift click drag.
Okay. Now I have this. But I want to
also... Control B, that's what you were thinking. That's how you just drag it over. So yeah, make it unique. Now it's different, so you can mess with that one. Yeah, so at some point we lost our audio, but I mean, we haven't been doing a whole lot. Hopefully we didn't miss too much. So, and hopefully I can get back the old file actually. Let's really quick make sure that that file exists.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, but I need to make sure it's not corrupted. Because that's the problem. Come down here to recorded. Date. Type. Date created. 7/24 shooting template at 11:36. This is the most recent one. The other one was the same day at 9:18. Do I have a length? Zero. It might be because it's really long. I think you just deleted everything, bro.
Everything we just recorded? I don't think so. That can't be.
Well, you don't understand. When a program crashes in the middle of recording, it generally corrupts the file. Because it ties it off with some data at the end. If this is the file, let's look at the size. This is it, man. Maybe I'll have luck opening it somewhere else.
So everything we just recorded is in oblivion?
I think I might be able to get it back. Because the size is still there. I just need... Maybe if I open it up in something, that it will see it. Anyways, if we lost it all, let's just pretend we didn't and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we've been working separately and... We're going to describe what happened. So I came up with this idea. I have this sort of intro and it leads in, and I'm using layers and sound design and just sort of screwing around. Came up with this. that's what I got. That's what I came up with. I mean, I have stuff to work with. I think I came up with an idea that I could definitely develop. There's no riser. There's no transition. The ideas are sort of spread out and not well connected yet. But I mean, you get the idea. I sort of like just started doing everything. This is like a bunch of advanced stuff that you aren't ready for. Like I'm using one layer to control 3 synths, which is really nice. So you can layer together a bunch of sounds. But anyways, yeah, I did work with the original, and that's how I actually came up with it. Because before, we made this bell sound, and I was like, oh, the bell sounds so cool, and I made this little melody to go with it.
Right. Yeah. It gets louder. Yeah.
I tried making a transition, but I was like, whatever, I'm going to go make this its own thing. Yeah, we'll talk about more advanced stuff like this later, but yeah, it was a simple melody, had the chords. I made it longer by doing something called automation. I guess we'll talk about automation more in the next one.
Okay.
All right, so that's what I came up with. I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted to do, so I didn't really come up with anything awesome. But what do you have?
All right, so I was still trying to figure out a bunch of stuff. So I'll play what I have, but
yeah, because you were still dealing with navigating and workflow.
So I couldn't get a lot of it in, but this is what I got. And it just kind of falls out. I didn't have time to put the rest of the drum idea.
I get like mad. Have you watched Adventure Time?
I think I've seen a couple episodes with the little dog.
Yeah. I get mad Adventure Time vibes from this. That's like, I don't know if it's good or bad.
No, it's pretty bad. But I tried to do like a little intro right here and then come in with like a beat.
I feel like your melody is so free form that it's formless.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. The drums are probably the most stable part of it.
Yeah.
We'll get more of that with time because, you can jam on saxophone, so you obviously know what a good melody sounds like.
Yeah, I'm still trying to navigate
Yeah, it's weird looking at it as a grid, right?
It is weird looking at it as a grid.
Yeah.
But I thought this part was pretty solid.
I like the bass note and the drums.
That's a start.
Whole melody thing you're doing there, I don't know about that yet.
Yeah.
But it could fit certain things. Like, it definitely has a vibe to it. It's interesting when you go into sound, not for like production, as in like you're trying to make bangers, but you're trying to make like film music or music for a game. Sometimes stuff like this like really fits. It's like kind of strange how well it fits sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think anyone's gonna be like dancing to this necessarily.
I don't know. Some people could be like,
maybe, yeah, it's gonna be some like abstract stuff.
Yeah, it is definitely.
We got the 20th century. You're gonna be the next genius of tonality.
Well, first I need to master the basics.
like what key is this in?
Well, so it started off.
Do you have a key?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here, I'll explain my logic or kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
How do I
you can hit enter to automatically zoom it up to the full size of the screen.
Okay, enter. Yeah. So this part, I don't think this is the beginning.
There it is.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this, I was kind of just messing around in C major, starting on the 4th, kind of,
So like your whole thing was, I'm gonna start on the arguably one of the weakest intervals
Yeah.
and stay really far away
well,
from tonality of C.
Yeah, kind of. But like I have the root up here. And then right here, it's kind of like a half step leading into the key of G major for a little bit. So that's why I kind of played the leading tone here. And then just going back right up to the G since it kind of just leads into the next key. So,
Okay.
So I was like... And then that D right here, kind of, I was thinking like, D minor, kind of like D Dorian, kind of right here. So then you have...
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how...
If that's what you're going for, then
yeah.
Cool.
I was thinking kind of like in key centers a little bit. And then I thought the minor key would be like cool to come in with the beat. I didn't have any ideas, so I kind of just was like texture. I was thinking more texture.
Texture-wise?
Yeah.
All right.
But
yeah, I mean you have reasons. That's a lot more than an awful lot of beginners can say. I mean, sometimes they put down notes and they don't know why they put that note there.
Oh no, I knew why. I knew why.
Yeah, but you have some reasons,
got some reasons.
some actual reasons. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if you could justify it, then I dig that. It's not like just random thought out. It's like different now.
Yeah.
Not that I don't know. It's not obviously it's not random before. There's like an interesting vibe, but like hearing the idea adds a lot more structure to it. Mm-hmm. So when you listen to it, you're just like, oh. That's
well, and it's interesting because right here, because like right here, G major is just kind of like if you're thinking the key of C, right? C, D, E, F, G. It's the fifth, right? So it kind of, it kind of has that same vibe. And then it goes...
I think it just happens one measure, next measure, next measure. I think it's just kind of fast.
Yeah.
Like, you have this sort of up-down idea, and then you just go up and then really far down. Like, I don't feel like I don't know. That in one way, it's very free-form, so that's, like, a good thing. And
There's
then in
definitely...
other ways,
Yeah.
it's not like something I'm going to go around humming.
No, yeah, definitely.
I mean, like, I might now because I've heard it so many times. Like, na.
Yeah, it's definitely, I have a lot to improve upon for sure, but this was the best
I don't know. I think for what it is, it does it pretty well. Like, the sounds you picked, I think they're appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has a...
Like, I had a picture come into my mind when I listened to this. I pictured, like Middle Eastern, like you're on like a camel or something, and they've got like these drums and the rhythms are like kind of they're different, so they sort of fit like these weird drum patterns. I don't know. There's this YouTube video where they have these elephants that are pulling this world on like and they're all on like these chains. It's a really trippy video by a guy named Felix Colgrave.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen him.
No.
But the whole video is crazy. It's like one massive drug trip, man.
Wow.
Because these elephants look freaking weird and they have these tusks that come up. And then like bigger elephants like spraying them with like bug spray to kill the weird bugs on them. And these bugs are really weird. And it's one of those that like zooms in and zooms out. And I like, this is something that it reminds me heavily of. That's the first thing that came into my head.
Well, hey man, I'm glad that at least it makes you think of something. But once I get faster with all the the mechanisms, and
you'll be able to.
I could finish the ideas, but
and polish them.
And polish it.
Yeah, because I went through like solid 3 or 4 things before I was like, all right, I'll go for this.
Yeah. And I'm over here like, okay, I need to put the notes down.
Yeah.
But it was really difficult, like for me, and I don't know if there's any, there's probably some beginners that are going to be watching this tutorial, but it can be kind of overwhelming, like, when you have, when you have all of this to look at, and you're like, okay, look, I need to go to drums, and then,
actually, that's a common criticism.
Yeah, so for me, it was like organizing everything.
But I'm telling you, this is freaking awesome. Like, I love the floating window layout.
Yeah.
Like, you get so used to just being able to have a window there.
Right.
That when it's not there, like you're forced, like some programs force you to switch between windows. Like you can't look at your sequencer and your mixer and reasonably work in both at the same time. And quite a few digital audio workstations, which makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then if you're composing, you want to be able to switch between your sound sets and all these things, because other things have it so that you can only view so many of your sounds. Like you can see your drums, your MIDI, your mixer, your sequencer, and a synthesizer all at once if you want.
Yeah.
NFL. And so I think that's like a major advantage when you're being creative in this sort of way.
Yeah.
If you're like just mixing, then some of them make a little more sense, I guess, for mixing. But you could easily set up a window view that would work similar in FL. So there are ways of actually configuring it so that certain things stay on top.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, I recommend having the stuff that you're not using closed.
Okay.
So, because that actually eats CPU. FL
Yeah.
stuff is really, really CPU efficient.
So like for instance, like this,
that's taking up.
that can
Like,
just-
that's like
yeah,
negligible.
You don't need
But
that.
there are some plugins that if you leave them open in the background, like isotope plugs, they'll mess my computer up. Like when I have them open, I have to work with just that and close it when I'm done, because it'll push my computer to the limit sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like, as time went by, I definitely felt myself getting more of a grip on how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see how, with practice, this setup can be really efficient, because now I can just see everything. And a couple of times I glanced over to what you were doing. You were just boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, how when you're writing words, you don't think, how do I make an A? Or, you don't think that.
Yeah.
So right now, I think you're still writing like letters, but then when you're writing, you don't even think of how to spell the word. You just write the word.
Right.
Like, you're not even thinking about how to write the letters. You're not even thinking about how to write the word. You just are thinking, and then the idea is on the paper now. And it's like this crazy transition that we take for granted that we learn in school. It's the same way with this. Like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm just thinking. That's it. All I'm is thinking. And so right now you're like, how do you make an A?
Yeah.
like you've already thought the thought, but the translation's slowing you down big time. So
Yeah, for real.
there's the speed that you can work at those is insane with FL and the piano roll.
Mm-hmm.
And other DAWs, it's just not as intuitive for a number of reasons. Some of them are pretty quick now, though. A lot of them have taken notes and improved. So, yeah. So that's what we have. Let us know what you think. Subscribe. And have a blessed day.